listening and understanding, but being empathetic with the other person or other point of view.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but at least try and understand where they're coming from or how they get there. And it's like you said, a lot of that can be fear-based. A lot of it can be experience-based. It's fear based on past experience.
Yeah.
It could be fear based on what they read or hear. It could be, what they've been told.
Leave your false impressions at the door. It's time for Carl and Mike.
Welcome, Carl and Mike. How you doing?
Doing good. So no sleep last night,
No
huh?
sleep last night. I had the trifecta of bad sleep.
Now, what caused this?
Michael, what does cause it? I had too much on my plate. Thinking things through, overthinking.
Eat faster.
I couldn't get to sleep. Then when I got to sleep, I had bad dreams. And then when I had bad dreams, I also had a little, Suzanne saying I'm having a little sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea. Are you going to get one of those face masks?
No, I'm going to lose weight. That's really what that's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you ever notice that? People have sleep apnea or overweight men.
No, I haven't noticed that, actually.
You probably wouldn't. But
I don't know that many people with sleep apnea.
more than you realize. Because there are a lot of overweight men.
I do not know how you sleep with the face mask on.
I couldn't. That would be weird. I guess you get used to anything. Like I always thought those sleep studies were a little what's the word I'm looking for? Not sure about them because you got all these things on you. You're not going to have that's not a normal way of going to sleep. But I guess once you get to sleep, then
Yeah.
Now, does Anita say, are you a sleeper that moves around a lot? Or you kind of in one spot? Like I sleep on 1/8 of the bed.
No.
And Suzanne and my dog,
1/8.
Sophie. Suzanne and the dog,
No
Sophie,
more
gets
than 1/8.
7/8 of the bed.
Now, is it a king size bed or is it a queen size bed?
It's a queen, but it didn't matter when it was a king. We had a water bed. It was the same thing.
Oh, you had a water bed too?
Back in the day.
Oh man, we had a water bed. I had one of those waveless water beds. Loved
Yeah.
that fucker. Except it got to the point where I was waking up every morning with a backache,
Yeah.
and that's why we got rid of it. But I liked it because the temperature was just right. So when
Yeah.
you crawled in, it was still, it wasn't cold. The sheets weren't cold. It was
Yeah.
just right. It was like,
I moved a lot, so I was moving that damn water bed.
no, that's not good.
I did not like that.
No,
After a while. That's a lot of moving in your
So anyway,
early 20s. Anyway.
Back to
Yes.
your small portion of the bed.
Yes, Suzanne has a habit of sleeping horizontal on a vertical bed.
Spanker. Do something, when
Goes back to her childhood when she had a bunch of kids and went to grandma's house and they all slept horizontal.
they just stacked them in there like cordwood.
Yeah, so they could fit. So now she has this
Seriously?
habit of kind of naturally moving horizontal.
Moving that way.
It's okay. I enjoy my 1/8. The part that gets me is when the dog.
So your 1/8 of the bed is actually in an upper quadrant. You don't even have.
No, I
it's
have a
not
sliver.
a link. If you have a sliver.
I have a sliver. I kind of move around. The part that gets me is when the
This-
dog gets an attitude about it. Like we have a Bichon,
Yeah.
Sophie, and so Sophie is sleeping on her back,
Yeah.
on my side. I might add when I get into bed, and then I have to move her, and she's not happy about that.
What does she do?
She gives me that kind of like fuck you, grown.
Punt that fucker across the room a couple of times. Pick him
You're
up.
not a
It's
dog
small.
person,
It's a
are
small
you?
dog.
You're not a
Right?
dog person,
Throw
are
it
you?
against the wall.
Yeah, he's just kidding. Dog lovers of America.
No, not
No, he's
really.
not.
I
He's a
like
cat
cats.
person.
I'm
You're
a cat person. I'm a
person.
cat person.
Yeah.
Don't like they bury their own
A small
shit. They
dog
don't
is
smell.
like a
They
cat.
don't bark. No,
Well, Sophie doesn't like to be disturbed. So I find my little spot. I kind of maneuver my way in. But I kind of sleep on the side more, I think.
Yeah.
I'm used to sleeping on the side.
Well, I kind of like to hang a leg. It's a temperature gauging thing. If I get too hot,
Keep
I'll pull
a leg
out.
Yeah.
And then I'll
How
get
many
cool
pillows
back
do you
in.
have on your bed?
Just one.
One? You know how many pillows we
one
have
each.
on our bed?
How many?
9. 10 maybe.
Not at night, though. You don't
Yeah,
keep them on
we have 9. We have tons of pillows.
Why?
Suzanne likes pillows.
Well, she can keep it on her 7/10 of the
I
bed.
now like pillows.
Yeah.
I used to have one pillow when I was single.
Yeah.
I got married, and now I have 9.
So where do you put them all? You've got.
We kind of sleep
a
at an
head.
angle.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, slightly upward. Not a straight
Well,
vertical person.
That I don't know what that is. Is that good or bad?
Well,
So,
probably helps me, keeps me off of sleep apnea.
it might. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about sleep apnea, except that you wear a face mask that.
Well, I went to a Mankind
kind of
event,
a- it's
right?
kind of a
This is
Darth
where I was
Vader
surprised
deal.
by it.
Yeah.
So I went to a Mankind event, which is it's mankindproject.org, which was about 40 guys our age, 40s, 50s. Man, there was at least a good 8, 9, maybe 10 guys that had the machine.
Seriously.
Seriously, there's a lot more people on those machines than you realize.
They let them in. They let the machines in.
Yeah, they let them in. Yeah, this is staff.
They weren't confiscated. Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I was surprised at how many guys are on some form of apnea help.
I didn't know it was that big a deal. Honestly, I've known one or two other people that have got it, that had it, and I remember him, and he was glad to get it because he was all of a sudden able to sleep.
Yeah.
And but is it one of those kind of things where you're holding your breath and then all of a sudden you gasp? Is that what you're doing, or
According to
what's the deal?
Suzanne, yeah. So she whaps me.
What,
And
just
she
to get
starts
you to
to
breathe?
stay up. Yeah. This is recently. It's not usually that way. I need to lose weight. I gained 20 pounds after the bike ride across Iowa.
Oh,
Plus the weight I gained on the bike ride across Iowa.
how do you gain weight on a bike ride across Iowa? That's
We've
that's
talked about
like
this before. Pork
yeah,
chops on a stick.
pork chops on the stick. Yeah,
It's a buffet with a stop every 10 miles. So 400 miles, that's 40 buffets. That's how you gain weight on a
so
bike
it's
ride.
an eat across Iowa.
It's
rather
really
than
an
a
eat across
bike.
Iowa.
And
That's
a
what they.
bike.
It's really false advertising.
And-
Ragbri should be called, eat by or whatever. Eat bri.
And the bike is nothing more than a
It's a vehicle to get you from.
pork chop to pork chop.
Just get you, burn enough calories to warrant the next one.
So you can mentally justify it.
Well, every town has their own little thing, right? So you go into one town, it's Germantown, and you got a little German stuff happening.
Yeah, but couldn't they do something like, slaw or sautéed spinach or I
Well,
guess you can't put sautéed spinach on the stick.
You've got your
though,
truck.
right?
You got your little health truck there.
A health truck.
You got one health truck. Yeah, and usually positioned right next to the barbecue or whatever.
And who the hell's going to make
Who's going to
that?
go? You're on a bike in the summer.
Well, now what is it about not being able to make those kinds of choices?
So you're questioning my ability to make healthy
No.
choices?
No. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about myself, everybody. What is it that makes it where it's easy to make the wrong choice and hard to make the right choice?
I think it's habits. Habits. If you're used to eating a certain way, it's a
Yeah.
habit to eat that way.
But that's true.
And I think there's additives in the food that are designed to make you crave. I think that's happening, especially if you eat processed food.
Well, I think that's probably true, but I think it still gets down to personal responsibility to make those changes, and I have a hard time making those changes.
What's one that you have a hard time making?
Not eating, stuff that's bad for me.
So,
It's like.
but you're in a
we'll
pretty
go for-
healthy weight.
Huh?
You're in a healthy weight.
Well, I need to lose about 15 pounds.
15 pounds.
Yeah, I need to lose about 15 pounds would be great. And
You know what 15 pounds will do for me?
What?
Just cut it down to 50 pounds I need to lose.
Well, yeah, but what it is it's like, okay, we went out yesterday to get a hamburger.
Yeah.
I could have gotten tea, unsweetened tea,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I got a Dr. Pepper. I like Dr. Peppers.
You like a Dr. Peppers with hamburgers, don't you?
I like
See?
Dr. Peppers with
There's
hamburgers. 'Cause
associations.
There is associations.
You had Dr.
like
Peppers
that.
with hamburgers when you were a kid, didn't you?
Well, some sort of soft drink.
Right.
Yes.
You didn't have tea, especially
No.
unsweetened tea.
No.
Might as well just had water.
Well, yeah, and when I would do, and I have gone where I cut out, for instance, soft drinks. It's not like I drink a bunch of them. I'll drink one a weekend.
All right.
But it's just the idea of going, okay, I've been good. I want that one. It's even though it's bad for you and you're really not doing that much. There's that internal dialogue that I do that goes, it's only one.
Yeah.
And the same thing with little candies, little dovies. I go,
Yeah.
and that's what's smart about the marketing. Instead of doing Dovey bars, which I think
Big
they
old
also
bars,
make, yeah,
right.
they make little bitty ones.
Yeah.
So you're going, well, they're just little bitty. They can't be that bad,
Right.
So you'll eat half a dozen little bitty ones, and it's the same thing as eating a bar.
See? But if they put on that little bitty one, they said requires 15 minutes of bicycling or walking,
Yeah,
or they should put on every food item how many steps you need to take to walk off the food that you're about to eat.
Yeah.
That would be good.
yeah.
There should be an app for that.
Or eating 3 of these will give
There
you
should be an app.
anal
Here it is.
leakage.
Another big idea, because we are all about thought
that?
leadership.
Yeah.
An app. We need an app out there that takes food and instead of giving you the calorie and nutrition contents, just gives you the steps. Okay, so that little Dove candy is going to cost you 89 steps.
Yeah. Oh, that would actually be good. Upstairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something. It gives you an idea of what you're going to have to do to, because you know what? You're going to find out that $500 calorie meal.
Yeah, that would be better than just doing these calories.
Yeah.
But there's
steps.
just something about it's okay. And here's a habit that I just started,
Right.
and I've been able to keep up with it every day.
What's that?
Every day after we shower, we squeeze you down the walls. Okay, and I just started doing that because I several months ago I broke down the shower and cleaned it and
Right.
everything like that. Let it all dry out first, good, and then cleaned it. And then I realized when you're getting down cleaning it like that, you see where the grout needs to be repaired. So you're repairing the grout and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going, shit, this is a pain in the ass.
Right.
So I just started cleaning it every day, and the glass too, and it works. And so I do it every day. But that's
Right.
something that I'm doing to avoid doing something else.
Tony Robbins talks about either avoiding pain or you're moving towards pleasure. In that case, you're doing it every day to avoid the pain of what you experienced when you had to tear
I
down
haven't
that.
heard this.
Yeah.
And so the other
So
one's
it's pain
I'm
and
moving
pleasure.
towards
Pain, pleasure. Yes. See, that's why yummy food is so good, because you think about the pleasure it brings. Right.
But it's also
It's easier for
guilty
it's
a
easier for
guilty
someone to
pleasure,
go
though,
change
too.
their diet when they go to the
Yeah.
doctor or they have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a lot of pain associated with those yummy foods. But there was no pain with the yummy foods until you had the heart attack.
But it's a guilty pleasure too, which I like guilty pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't like guilty
Especially if
pleasure?
you're Catholic.
Huh?
Catholics love guilt.
Everything's guilt, right?
Yeah.
With the Catholics. Yeah.
We love guilt.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, and whether it's working out or food, and that always seems to be the main thing with people. I need to work out more or eat less crap, okay?
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with people not moving around enough.
Yeah.
So they're not moving around enough in their jobs because they're stuck in a cube
You see,
farm.
eat less crap ain't going to work unless you figure out a pleasure point or a pain point. And there's not, you can intellectualize, well, I should eat better food, but there's no pain in that intellectualizing. You might even have a guilt for a moment, but there's
Yeah.
no pain in that. There's no pain in that, unless someone points something out to you, or unless you have experienced some kind of pain. It makes it really hard.
Yeah.
And the average person doesn't.
That's why I think some people on the weight loss deal, people that have seemed to have had a real big success with it, they've hit that fail-safe point where the doctor said, you got to lose 50 pounds or you're going to die.
Yeah, there's pain.
Yeah, there's pain. And so, and then you have a kind of an incentive, but otherwise,
Why
you're kind
does
of coming up with
but
your own
even
incentives.
just weight, everything in life, it seems like as a society we don't do anything until there's some tragedy, right? Or there's some collective pain that
Yeah.
require, the Newtown shooting almost created a collective pain to get some impetus to changing, but at the end it wasn't enough.
Yeah, or you
it
don't-
wasn't sustaining
Yeah,
enough.
you
know.
don't look for a job to replace the one you hate until you lose the one you hate, and then
Yeah.
then you're out job hunting.
It's like it doesn't. It's harder. So the trick is, of course, is to. This is really good for me because I'm going to be doing a workshop on goal setting.
On what?
Goal setting.
Yeah.
So you've got to have some pleasure or pain associated with these changes you want to make. There's a great saying that says your why power is way stronger than your willpower. You got to have your
what
why.
power?
Your why
My
power.
Yeah.
It's got to be way stronger than your will. People think I just need more willpower. No, you need more why power, and your why is tied into either pain or pleasure. And that's
Interesting.
I'm going to start saving money because I really, really want to go to Florida and Disney World and take my kid to Disney World. That's a strong why. You associate a lot of pleasure. You see yourself picturing your kid on the rides, being happy.
Yeah.
So now you've got a strong why, and you save the money. Just hearing somebody say, "Well, you need to save or you're going to lose money." You're going to be poor when you're 50.
I think it's projection too, where you project yourself, for instance, thinner or in better health. You say you visualize yourself. Okay, you visualize. We both understand visualization. I think everybody does. You visualize yourself thinner. You visualize yourself in Florida. You visualize yourself in better health, and then spend every day working towards this. What have I done today? That this is the goal down here. What is the thing that I've done every day that's going to help me realize that?
Yes, I think you're right. And I think if you do the visualization again, you've got to have some consistency and some power on that. You've got to see the future as it's already happened. Okay, so you construct this mental image so strongly that's already happened, so that when it actually happens, it's just you've already been there.
Yeah.
That's when you hear people that have done stuff.
Yeah.
They've done that. They've pictured themselves on stage. If they want to be awarded an award or something, they picture themselves on stage, and they see themselves all of this stuff, and that's how if you want to that's how I know Suzanne and I one time we did a goal board, a picture board where we put all these stuff we wanted, and you know what? Everything on that picture board happened. Yeah. It really did. And we had this board in the office, so we saw it all the time.
Perry's done the same thing. In fact, he was talking about it when he was home. Yeah. And it worked.
And it really does. The thing is, then I didn't create another board.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta reimagine as you achieve these things that you want to achieve in life. And there's discipline. There's discipline of thought, but I think the discipline is much easier if you have a really, really strong why.
Yeah.
So, for you, the little candies or choosing there was no strong why for you not to choose the Dr. Pepper. Matter of fact, there was a strong why. I take it back. The why was, hey, I like soda with hamburgers.
Yeah.
And what was the downside of that? Really? One hamburger.
Yeah. But it's always just one.
Right.
It's always just.
Well, there's a great book called The Slight Edge, another book called The Compound Effect, that talks about that. It's little decisions made on a daily basis will lead one direction or another, and those that make the little decisions on a daily basis achieve big results. But for a long time, if you chose that, right, and let's say there's a parallel year, let's say I chose the other route. That one day I'm not going to lose weight and you're going to gain weight. But
just get back on.
It's the constant changes, constant little choices made over and over again. But the thing that's got to fuel those constant little choices is a strong why. So you got to, and sometimes, you got to make something. What is it for you? What would it be? What could be for you to change and make healthy choices all the time?
That's a real good question. I know. One of the things that I'm starting to enjoy is being outside more because I spend my entire professional career inside, behind a computer designing, So I'm sitting there pecking away at shit, or talking to clients or something like that, either their office, my office, whatever.
All indoors.
So it's all indoors kind of stuff. So now one of the decisions I made, a couple of years ago was I wanted to do something outside. And spend more time outside. So we bought this house. It's got this big lot that's got to be done something with. I'm starting this master gardener class.
Good for you.
On Monday, and that's going to get me outside. I'm coming up with projects that will keep me outdoors.
And what are you going to grow in this master garden? So you're going to grow food?
Well, I'm already growing food. The master gardener thing just teaches you, I'm not sure what all it's, right now I'm reading a section about soils, learning about soil and what soil additives and stuff like that, and that's good because I got a lot of, one thing.
So good for you. So you pick something, an activity that brings you outside, now you're going to learn about it.
Yes, and so I'm excited about that because I'm learning something new. I'm going somewhere, meeting different people, and it's going to get me outside. And so that's a good thing right there. So that's part of it. So that's a goal. So what else would be good? So that's a healthy thing.
Right.
I need to spend more time outside. The time that I did spend out time building the deck onto the
Right.
house, I lost all this weight.
Right.
But then I started coming back inside, doing the podcast, sitting behind the computer again.
The damn
editing.
podcast.
Well, no, I can't blame. No, I can't
No, I'm
blame it all
kidding.
on that. But it
Yeah.
is the same. Doing this podcast and doing all the editing is still indoors behind
Right.
a computer, sitting down,
Right. Maybe we should do our podcast at parks.
running. Yeah,
Running?
there we go.
A running podcast. I bet
No,
nobody's
that's-
done that. Well, let me ask you this. So I'm going to throw an idea out.
Okay.
Tell me, because I'm really talking to myself, talking to you.
Yeah.
So, you're, what, 61?
Yes.
Okay, so the average male, 76?
Good guess. Huh?
76 is the average male? No, I know. I keep track of
76 is the average male.
life expectancy
Oh,
for a male.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that gives you 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there a pleasure or is there a why that could be built around, you know what? I want more than 15 healthy years.
Yeah.
I want 25.
No, I'm already figuring I'm going to live at least another 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you would need more
yeah,
than that.
No. Yeah. It's not so
Well,
much.
so you
it's,
don't
it's not
associate
so
eating
much.
the-
It's
you
not
don't-
so much the extra time on the
Right.
end. It's of those 25 years, how many of them are going to be really healthy? I mean, you could be really
Right.
healthy and drop dead one day,
Right.
and that'd
Well,
be
you
a
could
great
be-
way to
you
go.
could
I
be
don't want to
having
piss
someone
out the last 5.
Clean up
So-
your chin every day, too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So there's
So there's nothing there that could be.
on the next 20. No, I
Pain or
want,
pleasure?
No, I want to. No, the
So the Dr.
pleasure.
Pepper
The
is-
pleasure for me is doing things that I haven't done,
Right.
and things that I want to do that I put off.
Right.
And
So
part
you'd
of
have
that
to
is-
you'd have to be choosing that multi. The Dr. Pepper isn't. So I'm thinking this out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a short-term thing, Dr. Pepper hamburger. Those go well together. I want that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to somehow. Dr. Pepper is a choice that I would be making that isn't in line with what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Well, one of the
Can you
healthy,
think about it that is that too big of a way to think
well,
about
no,
too
one
little
of
of
the,
a
one
thing?
of the healthy choices that Nita and I decided yesterday is because we sit there and we both buy hamburgers and French fries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we wind up eating about half of each. Each of us winds up eating about half a burger. So I'm sitting there, okay, so we're paying extra money for something we're really throwing away. Call it stupid tax.
Right.
So we just so the healthy thing there is to buy a burger, split
Split
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we did that the other day.
Yeah.
We bought a burger and split
Yeah,
it.
and then what you're doing is you're not like stuffed.
Right.
For one thing. Well, anyway, so that's like a part of it. But yeah, these are all. But the big thing for me is going outside, spending more time outside. I enjoy it outside, and just stupid things like weeding.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. It's become therapeutic for me.
Weeding.
Yeah,
It's therapeutic?
No, I'm serious.
You're finding meaning and depth.
I know.
in weeding.
Well,
What does
no.
it mean to you, weeding?
Well,
How is it therapeutic?
Well, it's therapeutic because I sit down and it's kind of one of those be here now things. You got to really pay attention to what
Yeah.
you're doing. And then what you do is at least for me, I wound up going after one kind of a weed at a time.
Right.
Because that one weed grows with a different kind of root system. So you get a rhythm going and pulling that out. And then what you find out, there are other weeds that grow underneath it. What you find by doing the weeding is that there's certain weeds that grow with other weeds.
Right. Didn't
Yeah,
know
it's-
that.
it's-
So there's
yeah.
a family of weeds.
Well, something. I don't understand it.
Maybe you should write a book, like call it.
Weeds.
No, I think you got to play off of popular. How about
the zen of weeding?
how about eat, guard, and jerk? You got to take the three things you like to do the most.
Yeah, there you go.
Eat, garden, and jerk off.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
there you go. It would be kind of, so it's a man's approach.
So I could
to-
monetize this.
Yes,
yeah.
I think so. We could do T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be more money than a couple of T-shirts.
Yeah. Eat, garden. Well, the book. So
yeah,
you're
the
playing off
book,
that Eat,
yeah.
Pray, Love, but you're going to do Eat, Garden, Jerk, a guy's guide to
Self-publish.
eat. Yeah.
Self-publish. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, so that's part of it, and
Yeah.
so I don't know where all it's going to go. I mean, it's like
I'm
I
excited
mean, a
for
year
you.
ago, did you think we'd be doing a podcast?
A year ago? Well, no, because we did kind of talk about it.
We've been talking about it, but really, I mean,
we didn't
we're
act.
in it now.
Yes, we
It's-
are.
And so that's
And we
that's
thank
a
all
new
our
kind of a
supporters
thing.
out there
Huh? Yes.
and all our fans.
Thank you, Nita.
Thank you.
So
I know.
it's
So who
just
knows? You
different-
may
it's
be,
just doing different things.
Does
And
this mean I'm
that's
going
a
to be
big part
learning a
of it.
lot about gardening in
Huh?
the coming year here on Carl and Mike?
Well, I
Is
don't
you're
know
gonna
if
be
people want
immersed?
to listen to it back. There may be some things that pop up. I don't know.
You know? Well, I think
We'll see.
it'll be a surprising thing. I don't know, what am I going to do for the new year? I've already got things going with this podcast. And, But, I am going on the weight loss thing, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day.
A gallon of water a day?
Yeah.
You're going to be peeing a lot.
Yeah, I know. But
That's
I'm in
okay.
the house. So
That's
I can do
okay.
that.
It cleans it out. That's
Yeah.
good.
So I got to get a whole gallon jug. And because I read one thing was interesting. It said a lot of times you're mistaking hunger for thirst. That Americans are overall dehydrated.
That probably makes sense.
And drinking coffee isn't drinking water. 'Cause
No.
you're giving your kidneys something to work
Yeah.
on, whatever.
No, I think that's good.
Oh. So we shall see. What else is going on?
Well, what else is going on?
In the world or in life?
Well, I read this interesting thing about, this is my cheat sheet here. I'm trying to look at which one of these. There's,
Look out, world. Michael has a cheat sheet today for today's Carl and Mike. Carl, of course, going without a parachute.
it was actually an editorial today in the paper, and they were talking about Hunger Games.
Yes.
That's tapping into the global revolution kind of a deal. Because the
Hunger
last
Games?
Hunger Games is like us versus them being the 1%, the controllers and stuff like that. And if you think about what's going on around the world, that's really what's going on. I mean, that whole Arab Spring, it's going on everywhere, right? Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think as communication starts to viral.
And I guess both of these kind of relate, actually, now that I think about it. And what it was they say that it's a lack of understanding, lack of listening. And the powers that be are not listening, and the people that are revolting feel like that they're not being listened to.
That's what's happening in the Hunger Games, and that is what's happening in the world.
Well, the Hunger Games is just kind of showing this.
That's been going on for a long time, don't you think?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to reach critical mass. They're not listening.
Right. The government is not listening. That's why you got Congress. It's such a low approval rate.
And so I think the idea of not listening, you have to be able to sit back and be empathetic. You have to try and reach an understanding of what it is the other side's saying and what they're feeling and what they're upset about. And if you really try and figure out what that is, and that can be on any of these issues we've talked about on any of these podcasts.
Right.
I mean, literally, any of these podcasts, try and be back and empathetic. And one of them is the one that this second episode of The Best that we're doing. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. One of the things that I was listening to, or that we're talking about, is black dad. The conversation that black dads and sons have to have
About police.
about police.
Yeah.
And you know what would be great is for some white dads to sit down at the table when the black dad has that conversation with the son. A white dad and his son sit down at the table with a black dad and his son when they're having that conversation, so they hear it one-on-one. It's not something you hear about in the news. It's not something you hear about on Carl and Mike, but it's something that you actually experience. And you're quiet.
First
while
off, you
that's
have to
going
have
on.
black friends.
Well, there's that.
And there's less of that these days.
But being able to just sit down and listen to that happening.
Right.
And I think if the smaller the group that does, there's more apt there is to be a connection made where you go. And the connection we're trying to make is, oh, I didn't have to do that with my son. I'm glad I didn't have to do that. What would it feel like to have to do that? And so that's one of those things of trying to understand. And it's the same thing, it's Republicans and Democrats talking past each other constantly, waving their pieces of paper that says, okay, this is how I justify what I'm saying. And these other people will go, well, here's my studies, here's what I've got. And you can push numbers however you want to push them. So I don't
But
know.
now you see, all right, I'm feeling a little like, let's take climate change, okay? You're kind of equating those that don't believe with those that do is kind of an even thing, and we need to listen to each other.
No, I think.
Well, I'm struggling on that one because
no. I think there's going to be some things.
They're in La La Land on that.
Well, there is some things that they're in La La Land on, and at this one article that I read again today.
I
It's
guess
funny you mentioned it because this one Inhofe, who's the senator from what is it? Inhofe, isn't he from Oklahoma or something
Right.
like that?
Yeah.
He was, somebody confronted him with the 93%
Yeah.
or 5% or whatever it is, scientists that say that it's, and what his comeback was, some Bible phrase out of Genesis that said there's always going to be sun, always going to be moon, there's always going to be food growing and birds chirping or whatever. And he said, who are they to contradict the word of God?
So he's got the word of God on his side.
So
We're back to disease of certainty.
You can't.
Here's what we can listen
Here's
for,
the
though.
here's the thing is now trying to break through that.
I think I have an idea on how to do that.
How?
So, what you have to listen for, is you have to listen for the fear. So why are these guys
Yes.
against climate change?
Yeah.
The fear is it's going to bankrupt the nation, right? It's gonna hurt businesses, right?
Or is it gonna?
That's the fear. Why are they denying climate?
Well,
Because it's fear of what?
Is that
Isn't that what's driving
is
it?
that the line,
denial?
Is that the line of BS that the businesses are putting out?
Yeah, I think you have to listen.
No, I
to
think there definitely is a fear that you have to understand.
when someone is being factually irrational,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to listen for the fear. So what is the fear that's driving the irrationality? All right? And
Mm-hmm.
the fear itself is irrational, of course, but that way, then I think the way you engage a climate person is say,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this thing, with solar here, and I think this could create a bunch of jobs in your district
Yeah.
and things like that, and I think we could do a thing with government
Mm-hmm.
and business working together. Not only create some jobs in the community, but I think we can, make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, so if the fear is a lack of business, then you have to approach them with business on that.
Yeah, that would be the way to try and reach some sort of common ground.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But typically,
So gun control, how would you do that? So the fear, what is the fear of the right on?
on gun control, that you're going
guns.
to take my
You're gonna take my guns
You're going to
away.
take my guns away.
So how do you get a? So what's the fear? The fear is you're going to take my guns away.
Yeah.
What's the fear behind
no,
that?
The
What's
fear
the
behind that is I'm not going to be able to protect my family. I'm not going to be able to protect myself because I don't have my gun.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to keep people from
someone-
taking. I'm not going to be able to keep people from taking my stuff,
Right.
or I'm not going to be able to defend the Constitution or my country because they feel like they're the final,
So
the final line.
So you have to understand the fear, okay? So the fear is security and protection,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's security and protection.
So what can you offer in a conversation to help move them from? You have to address their fears to move someone off the conversation to a certain extent.
Well, you have
Because they're all stuck in pain, right?
Yeah, in a thing like that, they're feeling like they are the last line of defense.
Yeah.
They're not going to trust anybody else to protect them from whatever, right? They're not going to protect the cops. They're not going to
Government's
protect
not
the
gonna-
government. They're
right,
not going to protect.
Only
They're
them.
not even going to protect their neighbors. Trust their neighbors to do that. If their neighbors don't believe the way they do, they trust.
Well, then I think, and I don't know.
Like-minded
maybe you can't.
individuals,
Maybe there's the way.
huh?
I mean, I agree on a zealot standpoint. Chances are you're not going to change a zealot.
Yeah,
But if you did, or even going to attempt to, you'd have to address their fears.
yeah.
Or maybe you make them an ally so that they listen to they develop trust. You make them an ally. Maybe you get them going on the militarization of police or whatever. And that's how people are going to come take your guns, is through the militarization. Let's kind of work on that together.
And get them
on. You got to get them on an ally on something else. They
Yeah.
get to know you a little bit,
Yeah.
trust you a little bit,
Yeah.
and then from there, they trust you a little bit. Then maybe they'll listen to you, because they're not going to listen to you unless there's some deep relationship built on some kind of trust
Yeah, and I
over
don't-
some kind of experience.
And it may be a trust on a totally different kind of, or trust and respect on a different topic altogether.
Right.
Because before you get something that people are wrapped up in fear on, you've got to have some sort of other trust over here. And I don't know what it is.
Problem is
know,
we don't have
we
not
go
that
to
many
this-
people swimming between the two
we go to
lanes.
the same church, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay, you see me in church just every Sunday, just like like I see you in church. But I have a different viewpoint on guns or gay marriage.
Right.
and
And
than you do, and then and part.
and I'm guilty of that to a certain extent. There's times
I think
where
we're all
just,
guilty of
I
it.
just say like, fuck it, you're idiotic, and I just can't deal with you.
Yeah.
And they probably say
Well,
the
it's
same to
easier.
us.
It's easier to do that
Yeah.
than to try and. It's easier to do that and try and find some sort of common ground.
Right.
And
Common ground too that's going to lead somewhere.
yeah, well,
It
and
seems
maybe
to be in
it's
short supply.
yeah, and getting to be more and more. I mean, less and less.
But that's the route you would have to go about
Yeah.
it, I think. That kind of thing. And again, it's long, slow, and you got to focus on. Really have to have a strong why.
Yeah.
And why you want to do that. But then again, look at just the last few years. There's been a lot of social change that's happened. I think the country tends to be conservative, but socially not so conservative as everybody likes to think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Who is not financially conservative? Who is
Yeah.
really willy-nilly with just throwing their money around? Those are idiots that are maybe
that-
have
yeah.
gambling addictions or some other or shopping
Right,
addiction or
right.
something like that. Anybody and everybody is going to be fiscally conservative. They want to be careful with their money. Is that not what fiscal conservatives are? They want to be fiscal. They want to be conservative with their money.
Yes, I think what they would
And
look
careful.
at, the liberal side of it, is that they want the government just to give them money. I saw a great sign about Fox News that said, Fox News, rich people convincing middle-class people that it's the poor people's fault.
Oh yeah,
Right.
convincing middle class people that it's
Yeah,
the
rich
worst
people
part.
convincing middle-class people that it's the poor people's fault. I
Yeah.
think that pretty much sums it up
Yeah.
from what's happening over there.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think everybody wants to make a good living and provide for their family. I mean, that's.
I mean, even poor
That's
people,
not- that's
even
not
poor
conservative
people
or
that are
liberal.
they're working 2 minimum wage jobs are very conservative the way they spend their money. Probably
You have to be.
You have to be. In that respect, you have to be. I would say somebody that is wealthy is very liberal with the way they spend money. When they're buying $5 million
And there's
houses
also those
for
wealthy
two people,
that are really rich and save.
Well, they are, but a lot of them are okay. Warren Buffett
Yeah.
is conservative with his own personal life and
Right.
his money.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
drives that old car, lives in the same
Right.
house he's done forever.
They're very
a lot of other
conservative with his
people
money,
who
yeah.
are very wealthy and very and conservative are not that way. They have multiple houses all over the place.
But those people actually, have you ever read the Millionaire Next Door? There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
So they looked at people, and actually a lot of millionaires are plumbers and everyday people, and they looked at their habits.
And they're very conservative with
They're
their
conservative with their money.
Yeah.
They don't buy a new car. They buy a used car, at least 1 year old.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff like that. And they were conservative with their money. The people that are not is either sudden wealth,
Yeah.
or from a company taking off or whatever. And there's a lot of people, quite frankly, that are living beyond their means. And they look wealthy, but if you really scratch below the surface there, they may be making $700,000 a year, but they got $1.6 million in
Yeah.
debt.
Yeah.
So that you got that going on too. Yeah. How do we get to here?
How did I,
From listening.
Yeah, just listening and understanding and trying to reach some sort of listening and understanding, but being empathetic with the other person or other point of view.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but at least try and understand where they're coming from or how they get there. And it's like you said, a lot of that can be fear-based. A lot of it can be experience-based. It's fear based on past experience.
Yeah.
It could be fear based on what they read or hear. It could be, what they've been told.
I wonder, does fear run out? In other words, like Fox News, okay, I think does a really good job of scaring old people about the other.
Yeah.
Does that, after a while, do you just got to keep ramping it up? Or, because it seems like a guy named Glenn Beck, he went all the way to the edge of crazy, and then he kind of just had to go
And
get
he
his...
kind
He kind of overplayed his hand, and then he got his own station. Now he's doing crazy shit on his
Yeah,
own
yeah.
for the people that are going to stick with him no matter what. But is there a point where you can only fear people so much, and then you either have to raise the stakes or they get onto you? Do you believe or no?
Well, like Glenn Beck, I think is a good example. He took it too far,
Yeah.
not too far for his true believers.
Right.
And
But too
so-
far
and-
for a mainstream
Yeah,
audience.
too bad for a mainstream audience. But then there's somebody like Limbaugh that does take it far all the
See,
time.
he's very
just,
upset. Limbaugh's very upset about James Bond being black. I
Fuck
love that
him.
one.
Yeah, that's a good.
He really is a racist motherfucker.
Well, and
Sorry for the language there.
yeah,
It fits.
why? Yeah, and an OxyContin addict.
Yeah. How this
But
guy still is on the air.
I
but
don't.
what
Well,
else
I
going
think
on?
it's probably easier for him to be on radio
Yeah.
than it is to be on TV.
Well, and he did something very, very smart. Okay, he insulated.
not a
hims-
dumbass.
No, he insulated himself from all media. You never see Limbaugh on anywhere where he could be challenged. He's not. He's not debating the liberal side of people. He's not doing debates. He's not doing TV shows. You don't see him on the Tonight Show.
But he has hosts on. I mean, he has guests on, doesn't he?
No,
have
but
guests?
he controls the environment.
Okay.
And that's what he's done very, very well.
Okay.
If you look at it, he never really leaves
That's
the Limbaugh
interesting.
land. Occasionally, he will address the conservatives, big conservative thing once a year.
Yeah.
But that's in his wheelhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
The moments he tried to step out Monday Night Football, he lasted one game before he got suspended. So he knew, and that was a smart thing. He never got himself, because on some level he must know that if he went out there and debated with liberals or whatever, that he would be exposed for the
Well, I don't think he-
windbag asshole that he
I don't
is.
think he thinks that he's a
Then
windbag asshole.
why did he make that? Why didn't he reach out beyond his world?
Strictly control.
Yes.
It's just straight up control.
But that allowed
kind of
him to
an
build
issue.
the brand and not
Yeah.
get it watered down
Yeah.
by someone else challenging him. Mm-hmm. It really isn't
Yeah.
that much challenge going on there in
Yeah.
Limbaugh land.
No.
Oh, that you're saying yes.
Yeah.
As people can call in, but he controls the buttons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're way more in control in a radio call-in show. The
Oh,
host
yeah.
is
Oh,
than,
yeah.
than the listener.
Yeah. So I mean, so I think people like that are always going to have their audience. They're always going to have
Yeah.
people that are true believers. I think, just like you're going to have people that are true believers that wave the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Yeah.
You're always going to have factions that really buy into that, and
The problem is, it seems the media sometimes tries to give equal weight to things that are really just factional, very small factions.
Well, a lot of that, I think it's just the media trying to fill airtime. They're trying to they find all these experts to weave all these possible scenarios without having any kind of, and they may be experts. This guy was a pilot for 30 years, or this guy worked for, the association that, I don't know. This association or that association, it doesn't matter. They have certain kind of credentials that they can talk about, or that the newscasters can talk about, right, to justify their presence on the air. And then these people spin out these scenarios, and the commentators or the newscasters are asking them questions. Well, what about this? What about that? Could this have happened? Could that? Well, yeah, all that shit could have happened, but that's just filling airtime. It doesn't make it doesn't help anybody learn anything. And I saw a thing the other day. They were talking about the different people, and they were saying, well, this person, had just become a flight attendant, and these people had just been married 3 months. And these people
They
had,
try to find like the irony to up the tragedy.
well, yeah, they're up in the tragedy, and they're getting into the stories, and I'm going, now, is it important for me to know that kind of detail about the people on there? What is the purpose of that?
Purpose is to get you to
the
feel
drama.
Oh,
Yeah, no, the purpose. Well, I already feel awe. Does that just depress the people that are listening to it more? Does it get us more in a funk about that particular accent? What's the purpose? What's the point? Is there any value of knowing that?
it's all about playing with emotions, Michael.
It is.
It's like playing emotions, and there isn't a.
And every bit of that wraps up. It gets you again fear. Gets you fear of flying, fear of this, fear of that. It just.
Sometimes I feel like we are hit with so much stuff that it becomes. I've read about like people that have porn addiction, right? It gets to the point where regular sex, can't match up. it's almost like if you're on a diet of media and getting your emotional strings manipulated, that then it requires greater and greater hits to do anything. And I do think there's a large part of society that's not experiencing genuine emotion. They're experiencing manipulated emotion. And, I know a lot of guys, I know in the work I do at the Man Camp, a lot of guys have lost the ability to feel other than anger. There's a lot of people out there that can't feel normally. So they need something, entertainment, media, something to elevate the
What
mood
gets them to
so
the
that
point
they
where
can
they can't feel?
Yeah.
What gets them? Yeah.
What angle do you want to look at it? Do you want to look at it from the
Family of origin.
family of origin? Do you want
Yeah.
to look at it from physical,
Okay, yeah.
the additives in the food or whatever, brain, and what's
yeah,
happening,
yeah,
with the modern world
Yeah.
we live in? Do you want to look at it from the societal things are moving too fast now, and we just can't, I don't know. How much people are depressed? I mean, how much depression? What's the number one drugs? It's either erection drugs or depression drugs. So why are so many people depressed? Is it because society is set up the wrong way? Is it because we're ingesting chemicals that we don't even realize?
I think
What's causing? Or was there always
okay,
that
I tell you,
depression?
here's the thing. Do you think people are depressed because they feel like they can't live up to the images that they're seeing, that they're watching on TV, that they're reading about? I mean, you don't read about average people. You read about people that achieve something great.
Right.
Or there's
I
almost
think-
like
I
a
think there's
superhuman.
many
I
channels.
don't look like this.
Right.
I don't have that kind of a job. I don't do that. There must be something wrong with me because I don't have these things that I'm looking at and that I want, and then you want it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think all the above probably is the answer. There's all little different factors affecting different people different ways. The kid that's living in North Carolina by a pig farm or whatever is being physically changed. That can create depression there.
Yeah.
And a kid in Ohio that's father, beats him up every week. He's having,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of shit. I mean, I just posted on our Facebook
Well, those
page.
are environmental things
Yeah.
that a lot of times
Well,
you
or
can't
family
control.
origin,
I guess.
or-
Yeah.
Family origin, poverty,
Is TV kind of like Dr. Pepper?
TV is kind of like Dr. Pepper.
It is kind of like Dr.
Well,
Pepper.
yeah.
It's like
I don't know. I have to go back and forth on people. Go, oh, you get this kind of, I'm a personal responsibility entrepreneur. I don't watch TV. TV is for losers or whatever. I go back and forth on. I think there's a lot of TV that's pop, that's like sugar. There's right now a lot of
of it is.
good TV.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that kind of give insight into the human condition. I agree. I don't think you should spend a lot of time on TV. Just like you shouldn't eat fast food every day.
Yeah.
But be choosy and pick certain things. And I think there's things you can learn. I mean, that's to me what films and television shows are. Good books.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you insight into other viewpoints
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching, the brainless sitcom, then
That
you're just
Dynasty.
zoning out.
Yeah.
What are you doing with TV? How are you? I think you need to have a relationship with television and be conscious of what it is.
What are you trying to get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Television is food. Nita and I were talking about this last weekend. I was going, what would it be like to just go cold turkey on TV for a year? You hear about people going cold turkey on shit for a year.
Well,
I
all
wonder
right,
what
so-
that would do. Is that? I mean, what is that? Does that do anything for you?
No,
It's
I'll
like
give you
going.
my
It's
theories.
like going cold turkey on Dr. Pepper.
I don't-
And I've done that, but I always
TV's
wind
already
up going
changed.
back. Huh?
Okay, TV is just another screen in your life, Michael. It's another screen. Okay, if you're watching, you got an iPhone, and you got so that's one screen. Your iPad's another screen. TV's another screen. The window in your car is a screen. We kind of go from screen to screen. So if you cut out TV, then you just got all your news from the internet. You could easily do that. I mean, or whatever. You could When you
But
say
if you-
in
if you're-
today's
if
day and
you're-
age, if
if
you
you're
say you're
do-
going to take off TV, you got to take off TV, and that means through
Well,
all
okay, think about
devices.
this. If you're getting your news by reading it versus watching it,
Right.
you're not getting. If you're reading the stuff, a lot of the emotional impact that is coming across on cable news is not there. Yeah, you still have photos,
Yeah.
and you can still have videos that
Yeah.
you could watch that
Yeah.
has the same kind of thing, but it's not that. It's like with some of the newscasters, they're kind of snarky.
Yeah.
Different newscasters
Yeah.
in different ways, And so I'm just wondering if there's any value in.
I think
Not
if
saying
you've
I'm
got a
gonna
lot of
do
things,
it, I
well,
just
if you
say,
have
yeah.
a lot of things that you want to accomplish next year, and you find TV's taking too much of your time, then I think that would be a real
Yeah.
good thing. Or if you're over consuming on television and not doing other things in your life, or
Yeah.
growing or living
Yeah.
or whatever, then yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a valid choice.
Mm-hmm.
Just I guess depends on your relationship to TV and what is it you want to accomplish.
I have a love-hate relationship with TV.
I think I have a love-hate relationship with a lot of things.
I like the stuff I like, but I hate the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And another, as the old saying goes, one man's love is another man's hate.
Yeah. Huh.
And that probably wraps us up.
It actually does. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Carl and Mike. Catch us on carlandmike.net on the website. Catch us on Twitter at Carl and Mike. Catch us on Facebook, Carl and Mike. Catch us on Pinterest, Carl and Mike. Just pretty much pick
on
a
and on
social
and on
media
and on.
thing.
Yeah.
No, we haven't done Instagram yet. Do we want to do Instagram?
No.
That's hot right now.
Huh?
The kids want the Instagram.
The kids want the Instagram. the
Pictures,
kids
pictures,
want
pictures.
the
You as a
Instagram, but
designer, I
the
think.
kids don't listen to us.
Huh?
The kids
How
don't
do you
listen
know?
to us. Well, they might start. Who knows?
Yeah, I know.
Well, we don't know. We have. See, that's still the one thing about doing this that
We got
drives
some
me
data.
absolutely nuts is I have no idea who's listening to this.
Okay, so if you're
And
under
I'll-
30
Yeah.
and you're listening to this right now, I want you to go to carlmike.net, pick up this episode, go into the show notes and links, put in a comment, say, hell yes,
Yeah.
I'm listening,
And put your age on it.
and your age.
Yeah. I just want to know.
Or if, websites are too passe for you, text, what do you want them to do?
I
Go to
don't
Twitter
care.
and Twitter
Email,
us.
text, don't give
Yeah.
a shit. Just
They don't email
No,
anymore.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I just.
I'm under 30 and I'm listening.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And we sit there and look through lips and stuff like that, and we're seeing all these people that supposedly are listening to us in Australia. Who the hell are these people?
Okay,
wanna know.
Australians, we want to know.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear from you.
And I don't know.
We're thinking
Anyway,
about you.
It's interesting. It's kind of a conundrum because you really don't know who's listening. But I like the fact that there are people out there that I don't know that for whatever reason are listening. So keep it up.
Of course they're listening. This is Carl and Mike.
We're
Where else do you get
fabulous.
this fabulous conversations? In your dinner table with your own loved ones? Well,
Yes.
maybe that.
Yeah. There. Yeah.
There's that.
All right.
All right, everyone. Peace.
Out.